What's up, everybody? We got Joel Gossett in the house, and we're about to have a really good conversation. If you want to join, be back in 60 seconds. Let's go.
Let's go.
We are live. Bruce Buffer here, and we're being broadcast around the world. Thanks everyone for joining us on the Solar Objections live action role play. I have the pleasure to introduce a big UFC fan, fellow poker player, Solar Pro, and my friend, Solar Joe.
Let's go. What's up, everybody? Welcome back on another episode, another week on the Solar Objections live stream. And we only have one more show to go after this one. And I'm taking a break from the live stream. So I'm really excited. I really wanted to get our next guest on the show. Joel Gossett. This guy is one of the coolest guys, funniest guys, solar pros in the industry. Just joined the solar industry about a year ago and is already one of the top mentors in the power platform. I'm really excited to have him on. Joel Gossett. Joel, what are you doing, bro? We're live.
Oh, what's up? What's up, Joe? Solar Joe, man. What an honor, man. Glad to be here, my friend.
Thanks for being here. And everybody watching, come on, Joel's here. We're going to have a good conversation. Join the conversation. Get in there. Say what's up to Joel. Say what's up to me. But more importantly, get some questions in there. You know what? Let's put Joel on the spot. Let's give him a good objection, things you wanted him to answer. All right, make it fun.
Oh boy.
But if you guys want your name shown, make sure you go to streamyards.com/Facebook to show your name, or I'll just say Facebook user. Remember, streamyards.com/Facebook to give us permission to show your name. Because, come on, we want to know who we're talking to, right, Joel?
That's right.
All right, so everybody, Joel's on the show today. We're going to be talking about things that's making him successful, and a big part of it is his personality. And he's bringing in actually a pretty experienced sales background into solar too. So, Joel, is that cool? We pick your brain a little bit to see what you're bringing to the solar game.
Yeah, man, that's cool. And also, everybody always sits down in these, episodes. I think I'm gonna spin around like this because I heard it brings up like the content of like social media, like gets you more viewers if you spin around. I might pass out because I might dizzy, but go ahead, we'll go.
Nah, yeah, you're making me dizzy as that fan behind you.
And relax.
There you go. Let's go, baby. So, all right. So, I really want to start getting there, man. Just pick your brain and go ahead. Give the audience your mind. Let them know what's going on because I know you've been really, really successful. But first thing is, what do you think? What do you bring to the table? What makes you different? And what separates you like from the competition, would you say?
Yeah, man, good question. I think we all need to learn from the people who have been very successful in what we're doing, right? So we're talking about solar. What I did in the beginning was I try to carve my own lane, and I received a lot of friction from the level of growth I was seeing. And when I started kind of tapping into the people that have already been doing it and just kind of adopted a little bit of each one of them and put it into my own personality and the way I was, then the results really started to kind of flow. So if I could if I could, give anybody any advice, especially for the younger guys and gals that are joining the industry, watch and listen, and then just incorporate your own personal style. Like, you may be soft-spoken, you may be outgoing, but definitely there's things that people that are successful in this industry are doing, and it works. And definitely I've adopted those. And man, I just feel like I have fun with it. I have fun with the homeowner. I have fun whether I'm door knocking or prospecting or networking. So it's a game. It's a fun game. And the cliche of, if you love what you're doing, you never work another day in your life. I'm living proof of it. So
Yeah, and a big part of it is that you're just a cool person, right? Like, you're easy to talk to, you make people laugh, you make that awkwardness go away. Talk a little bit about that, just having that just outgoing, cool charisma. Is that a big part of your game too? And is that something you can like teach others, right? Like, one thing is having it yourself, another thing is training others how to do it themselves.
yeah, for sure. I mean, sometimes the way my mind works, man, I see situations that uh could be awkward, and instead of making it more awkward, I just make a joke out of it or make fun of myself. The best thing to do is always make fun of yourself. That's a humble thing to show to the homeowner or something, that hey, you know what, I'm another human being just trying to share some information with you, put you in a better situation. And I just it can you teach it? Yeah, but I think everybody, there's a lot of people that say, "Oh man, you're really funny. You come up with a lot of jokes all the time." But I think everybody's funny. You just got to kind of find what you're comfortable with, and go after it. But one of the biggest things that helps me, man, is like, I got no filter. My therapist always tells me, "Hey, just say what you got to say first, and then we'll kind of do damage control, because it's bad for your health if you keep stuff in." So not to get out of our therapist, but
I was like, that's a good therapist right there.
but I just, you know what? Sometimes I just throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks, and I'm not afraid to be put in an awkward situation, or to get embarrassed, or to fail, or to fall on my face, and if it works, then I do it again. If it doesn't work, then I know, hey, put that in the back pocket and try something different.
You know what? You just brought it up. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons, especially younger or newer solar pros have to learn, is that failing is not a bad thing, right? Like, we want to fail. So we know, it's about fail forwarding or whatever you want to. How do you train others? How do you get people to have that mindset of failing is not bad? You're learning as you're failing.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. I think, when we do something well and it works, very rarely do we go back and review it and say, hey, you know what could I have done better, right? Because you succeeded at what you were trying to do. But when you fail, right, when things don't work out the way you wanted it to, with whatever game plan you had, you were all hyped up about it, and it just, you landed flat on your face, man, that's the best time to kind of take a step back, reassess, and then just, make an adjustment. And I think the more you fail, the more you sharpen yourself as a solar pro, the more you're better at your craft. But you got to put yourself in enough situations and enough opportunities so that you have the opportunity to fail, so that you can then grow and be better, right? But if you're fearful about, man, I don't want to go talk to that guy, or I don't want to, say this to this person, or what if I say it in this tone? Am I going to lose the deal? And you know what I mean? So many, you psych yourself out that you never get to put yourself through that teaching moment, so that you can come out of it on the other side. And the next 10 people you talk to, now you're more polished.
Speaking of that, it's like when you're before you can even sell a solar system, you need people to talk to. And out of everybody you talk to, most people aren't going solar and most people don't want to talk to you. So can you talk about how, prospecting is like similar to like kind of like baseball, right? Like, if you bat 298 for your career, you're a Hall of Famer, right? Like, missing 7 out of 10 is a good thing. So can you talk about that? How with prospecting, and how do you do with prospecting? How do you deal with the no's and all the rejection you have to get?
Yeah. Listen, it's, we all hear the cliche, it's a numbers game. You got to get out there, but it's true. Not everybody, you got to understand, if you dissect your life, there, you got issues, you got good things going, you got bad things going. When you have a random person come to you and start talking to you about whatever their agenda is or whatever they're trying to sell you or pitch you or talk to you about, that's kind of that's breaking up the flow that you have going on in your life. And the first response is to kind of push it away and not want to listen to it. So you gotta, Taylor McCarthy always talks about, hey, the hardest thing about our job is timing, right? We got to find the right timing. It's not that what we're offering is bad. It's that if the homeowner is not in a position to hear it, you can't convince a closed mind. So
You muted.
we do get phone calls. Did I lose you guys?
You're good. You're back.
Cool. I'm back. I don't see myself, but
You're good. So you were just saying about Taylor McCarthy. Is that about time?
Yeah, and then just putting yourself in enough situations so that you eventually some of those are going to go through and you're going to be successful. So it's really the effort and the amount of times that you put yourself out there. Because what happens to a lot of people, man, is they get really hyped up in the beginning. Solar is great. I'm going to make a lot of money. They see a slight success, but then they see a couple of failures in a row and they're like, oh man, I can't do this. And then they go to the next thing. And it's like, no, man, like you got to push through those and sharpen yourself so that you can be better moving forward. So it's just that there's so much opportunity out there, but you can't be scared of embarrassment, of failure. You just gotta go get it.
And that's prospecting, right? We're talking about getting homeowners to sign for solar, but the solar industry is not only about signing up homeowners, it's about networking and recruiting and talking to all the solar pros and going to events. And can you talk about that and about you specifically, how you excel at networking and recruiting maybe?
Yeah, for sure. And just real quick, can you see me okay?
Yeah, man, looking good.
Okay, because my camera's off, so I'll just keep flowing. Yeah, man, look, can you in solar just sell solar and not do anything else? Sure you can. But being a one-trick pony is at least for me, it's not my style. It's not where I want to go. So in order for me to put myself in front of as many homeowners as possible and reach out to as many people, you gotta network. You gotta put yourself out there. People have to know you. I mean, look what you did from wanting to just do something fun and do some objections, handling and things like that. And if there's somebody in the solar industry who doesn't know Solar Joe, like you've been living under a rock. So like it just goes to show the power of consistency and just being able to put yourself out there. So again, networking. Listen, networking. What people think of networking, maybe they think of, man, I need to go talk to the CEO of X and Y solar company and network with that guy. No, networking is talking to the guy that delivers your pizza. You know what I mean? Going to the grocery store, the lady at the cashier. You never know who they know and who you can get in contact or connected with that, it may set you up for the next 3-4 months. So it's really just.
You blacked out there. Are
Just
you back?
as much activity as possible.
You blacked out a little bit there, but you're back.
Okay, cool.
So just really quick, I was going to just segue to the next thing. And we're talking to the audience here. Go ahead, put more questions there. We are going to get to the questions. Just want to ask him a little more here, pick his brain a little bit more, but we'll get to your questions and comments in a second. So get in there. But as we're talking about networking, part of that is once you do recruit or get solar pros and you're helping them get started and you're becoming the mentor and trainer. Can you talk about that? Then how that step you go from just recruiting them to actually them being on your team. And now you're like, they're responsible for making sure they do good or be successful.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you brought that up. So I have 3 kids, married, my mom lives with us and things like that. So I'm responsible already for a team of people and they depend on me to go out, work, provide, right? And same thing happens when you're introducing somebody into solar. Doesn't matter what company you work for, like you're essentially responsible for their success because they're looking up to you because you're doing what they want to be. So putting myself in that role allows me to really excel and get out of myself. Because let's not get it twisted. If it was strictly up to me, man, I would be chilling, playing video games, going to play golf every day, Like the laziness is what's going to keep me from achieving my goals, right? But if I know I'm responsible for other people and their well-being is kind of in my hands, sort of, right? Like they're still adults, they got to put in the work. But I tell myself, like, listen, if they don't succeed, you're not going to succeed. So I take the pressure off of myself, and everything that I do is for them. So when you're on your day to day and you're doing the grind and you're staying up late night and early mornings and putting in the work and training and things like that, when you do it for other people to see them succeed, man, the reward is 10x. And then in return, you're going to see the results for yourself too. So if you are a trainer or whatever, a lot of times we focus on, man, I need to get enough people on my team so that I could kill it. No. Get as many people on your team so that you can help as many people as possible. And then in return, it's going to come back around full circle to you.
Love it, man. Okay, so we're actually going to get into some questions about how you relate with a homeowner and how you kind of dig in there and talk about different situations with the homeowner. But I want to jump into just the comments real quick. No questions, just comments of what they want to jump in, and we'll go back into it, okay?
All right.
All right. So I didn't get any names. We got a bunch of Facebook users commenting, but we got first Facebook user said, Joel Gossett is the man. Let's go. Joel, my brother, nice to see you. My man, two legends. All right, I like that. Just compliments.
Who's the gorilla though? Is that you the gorilla, or
I'm definitely
am
the
I
gorilla.
the 100?
Oh, I think both guys similar deals.
Oh man.
Facebook user wants to know, this is going to be recorded. May I get a copy of it? Yes, you may. Afterwards, it will be shown in the replays. It will be in the feature section of Solar Objections Crew, baby. We got a friend on here. Hi, buddies. All right, guys, go ahead. Keep putting comments. Get more questions in there. You're making it
those
too
are easy. I like those. Yeah, those are
nice.
This
is too easy. Come on, guys. Get a good objection in there. I don't have all the answers, all the questions. What'd you say?
I said I'm good with that. I got a homeowner I got to try to convince here in an hour or so.
All right. Now, if they're not going to do it, I'm going to do it, bro. I'm going to ask you some questions.
Oh, boy. Do it.
So let's talk about that. Like, let's talk about what you do different. I know we talked a little bit about what you separate you from the competition, but how do you relate with the homeowner? Like, that's like one of the keys of closing solar is getting in a relationship with that homeowner where they care about you and they're laughing and they're understanding things. What is your keys to success, would you say?
Gotcha. I think the first thing is, even before you start relating with the homeowner, you have to be a student of your craft, and you gotta be the professional and kind of know about solar, about the system, the requirements, the panels, etc., right? Net metering, so that when you go into the home, that stuff is already second nature to you, and now you're kind of like the guy in the orchestra, right, with the little sticky thing that shows my knowledge of English. You kind of orchestrate the situation, right? And you got to be personable, you got to be relatable. If the homeowner feels that you're just there to close a deal, man, you're gonna sense some pushback, right? Not all the time, because a lot of times, look, they're asking you to come by because they want to go solar. But I feel like if you can personalize it for them, it's the biggest thing that we do, Joe, and you can attest to this, is helping the homeowner with their mindset about all the preconceived notions and the things that they've heard, and try to like clear their mind so they can be open to what it actually is. Solar isn't really tough to sell because solar speaks for itself. It's really the psychology and the dynamics of a homeowner that, you could tell them 10 times that is no money out of pocket if they qualify. And they're like, yeah, I know, but I just spent so much money on my pool that, maybe next year, right? So just helping them kind of see it. So I just feel like being able to help the homeowners see things at a different light, and just relating to them. And a lot of times people get in there, Joe, and they just talk solar all day, the whole meeting with solar. Man, break it up. A lot of times if you feel the conversation getting stagnant or they're starting to kind of draw back, man, like just address, hey, by the way, I see, is that cat hyperallergenic? Because you know what I mean? Like, and just, I don't know, just figure something out and talk about something different, get them off the subject and then bring it back, right? So just being able to get to know them as a person really helps in the dynamics of the of the conversation and eventually the sale.
Especially if they start bringing up stories or something they're talking about. I've seen
Just
so
go
many
with it.
solar pros just like kill it, and it's just like, all right, but solar pro, but the panels are on the roof. Like, come on, give them a little bit, get into there a little bit, right?
Yeah. The best thing that we could do in when we're meeting with somebody is just shut your mouth and let them talk. A lot of times they'll just tell you what they want, they'll talk about it, and all you're doing is just kind of weeding through the things that they're telling you, and it makes it easy.
So part of the dynamics of talking to the homeowner is the tax credit. I know there's been a lot of talk about tax credit being end of the year and legislation, but how do you kind of use the tax credit? How do you make it a way, where it's a great deal for the homeowner? There's no negative to it. You have a certain philosophy to it? Oh, I have the wrong one up here.
Yeah. So, when I first started, just like anything, right? We see the savings, right? Oh man, savings are so good. But what I've been doing a lot recently is I don't even touch on the tax credit, right? They own their house. They're not renting an apartment somewhere else, right? So they know the value of owning versus renting. So you kind of touch on that a little bit. You kind of start fueling that fire, and then and then you ask them. I say, hey, listen, Joe, how much are you paying for your mortgage? You told me
$1,400 a month.
1,400 a month. Okay. So hey, let me ask you this: if I wrote you a check and bought your house from you, and then rented it back to you for 1,300 a month, would you do it?
That sounds confusing, but yeah, that sounds like a no-brainer.
So wait.
No, I'll be losing money, right? No, of course not. Why would you do that?
Hold on. If I wrote you a check and I bought your house from you,
Okay, give me the money.
I own it. I own the house.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna rent it out to you for 1,300 a month.
No,
Would
well,
you do it?
I want to own my house. I want to throw away my money. I want to get something in return for my money.
Exactly. But I'm charging you $100 less, Joe.
Yeah, but I'm losing $1,300 though.
Okay. So wait, if I hear you correctly, you're saying that owning your house, even though you're paying a little more, is still better than renting it. Is that right?
Ownership is better, yeah.
Yeah, you're building an asset. Eventually, your payment's going to go to zero, right? Rent
Yep.
always increases. So same thing with your electricity, Joe. You're paying $200 a month now. When you go solar, your bill's going to increase a little bit. It's going to be around like 235. But guess what? It's a locked-in payment, and now your payment is going to go towards paying off that asset that eventually is going to take your bill to zero, right? And on top of that, guess what the government is doing? They're going to pay you a nice chunk of money for you to switch over to solar. Does that sound like something you would like to get?
Yeah, but I heard that you don't get that money. It just goes right into the payments or something.
Well, let me ask you this. So the new payment that I showed you for your solar is not factoring in the tax credit. So if we looked at the proposal and we talked about it earlier, you're getting a check for $17,000. Joe, if I wrote you a check for $17,000, what would you do with it?
Oh man, I would actually I have to buy my daughter a car, so that would come in handy right now.
Okay, nice. What kind of car would you buy?
Just something really safe that I can make sure she gets
Okay.
reliable. Something like
Nice.
some
My first
food.
car was a Honda Civic, man. So those are pretty inexpensive, and they just don't put the green lights underneath in the rims like I did. It came out.
No, you don't have to worry about that.
Fast and the Furious 1 came out when I got my car, so that's why. So Joe, that's the beautiful thing about solar. If it wasn't good enough already, what we've touched on is the fact that the government is going to give you this tax credit so that you can get your daughter a car by going green. Now, look, the way the tax credit works, I'm not a CPA. I would definitely divert to your accountant about that. You might be able to access all of it in 1 year. It might take you a couple of years to get that 17,000, right? And you might be able to only claim a couple thousand at a time, but the money is guaranteed to you. So your daughter's 15, right? She's probably going to get her permit in a year. Maybe it'll be an 18-year-old birthday present. So at least it gives you 3 years. So regardless, it's nice that the government is going to give you that money for you to be able to go solar, and you're going to be owning your power at a fixed rate. So it's a win-win all the way around. Now, what some homeowners do, Joe, is that when they do get the tax credit, you can apply it to the system and actually lower that 240, but that's going to be up to you. You have that choice, right? So I just, a lot of times we want to just show a lesser payment or a lower payment. But then what if the homeowner can't claim the tax credit in year one, right? And all of these finance companies only give you 18 months to apply it. If not, the rate goes up. And then now you got to fight uphill because you promised something, now you can't deliver it. So I like to just tell them, hey, this is what it's going to be without the tax credit. It still makes sense to do it. And now you got free money. You could use it for whatever you want. Now I'm tapping into the personal life of the homeowner, because man, when I tell them, hey, you're going to be able to buy your daughter that car, or get that jet ski you always wanted, or that big screen TV, or pay off that high interest credit card.
Hmm.
And nobody's telling you that you have to take the money and apply it, man, homeowners love that stuff. The flexibility that we're giving them a choice, their electricity, right? But then we're telling them, hey, you have to apply it to your system because you pin yourself by giving them a lower payment. So, I talk to some of my colleagues a lot about this. Like, what if they don't extend the tax credit? Then how are you going to sell? How are you going to talk to people about solar when the tax credit is not there? So might as well start doing it now, and give them access to the money to use for whatever they want in their personal life. And they love that.
All right, guys, younger or newer solar pros, or all solar pros, take that to heart. That's great advice. Don't sell on the lower payment, sell on the higher, and then include the tax credit as a bonus. You're going to make it happier, and you're going to be safer going into the future, right?
Yeah, Joe. I mean, and let's touch on that again, man, because it happens a lot. I'm in South Florida, and I see it.
Yeah.
This is, look, Boca, retired people come down here all the time and live, and I see these companies, man, say, yeah, no, you're definitely going to get the tax credit. Man, you're doing this
You know what?
older
Let me
lady.
do this. Well, there's a question in the comments based on this, so I'll get right into it, and you can answer the same
All right,
question, okay?
cool.
Facebook user wants to know, how do you work with an elder person when they come back and say, I will be dead before it's even paid? Even when you show them the savings, listening is key. Do you want to answer that one?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, it's really knowing, putting yourself, and it's kind of tough as a younger, put yourself in a 75-year-old person's mindset. But they're looking at, their reality is, yeah, they don't have too much time, right? So if you are trying to sell on savings, it's not really going to make sense to them. You got to paint a picture, say, hey, listen, is this your forever home? Obviously it is, right? So how many kids do you got? Hey, I have 3 kids. Oh, how many grandkids? Oh, I have 2 grandkids. Oh, that's beautiful. What are their names, right? So notice I just got off the solar. Now I'm talking about them, their life. I'm bringing up happy memories, right? I say, hey, so Mr. Joe, when the good Lord decides, hey, it's time for you to go up there and join him, what's going to happen with the house? Like, is the government going to take it? Like, what are you going to do? It's going to go to foreclosure? Oh no, I'm going to give it to my son, my older son, and he's got the 3 kids. Oh, wonderful. So you love them a lot, don't you? Yeah, awesome. Okay. How would you like for yourself to give the house over to them without an electric bill? Right? Electric bill is already taken care of because you made the decision today to switch over to solar, have a locked-in payment, and have all the money that you were going to pay for electricity over the next 15, 20 years, have it go to pay off that asset. How do you think they would feel that grandpa left them a home without an electric bill, with added equity to the house? You think that would make them feel good? And then now they're like, it's not for them. They're not doing it for them. They're doing it for their kids. They're doing it for their grandkids, right? So you're normalizing the situation to make it make sense to them. You're not deceiving them in any way. You're just helping them think through it a little bit differently.
That makes sense, because even if it saves money now, they're thinking about the future. And if they think the future is going to be bright anyway, now there's a no-brainer. And we're not saying it's good for every elderly person, and this is good for every single person. But if it does make sense, it'll be a good way to make them understand why it makes sense, right?
Yeah, 100%, man, 100%.
All right, bro. There's a question here, but it's a polarizing question here. So if you don't want to answer it, you can. But this is where you might get a lot of fallback from it. But Kurt Bradshaw wants to put you on a spot. Kurt wants to know, through the major solar lenders, can a homeowner combine the cost of the roof into the solar loan? Joel, you're the man. Thanks.
Yeah, man, they definitely can. They could take the cost of the roof, roll it into the solar, no money out of pocket, and then they pay a fixed payment for their house, for their roof and for their solar. So that's a nice option that homeowners have nowadays, because look, cash is king. Who really, even if they have it, right, who really wants to drop 20, 30, 40 grand out of their pocket to get a brand new roof? So you know what, actually, even in a similar topic, I had a homeowner that already got the check from their insurance company, and they were going to do the roof with it. So I spoke to them. I gave them the option. What they're going to do now is they're going to finance the roof with the solar, not put anything down. They're going to take the money that the insurance company gave them for the roof and the tax credit, and they're going to get new windows and new kitchen. So you just got to help them work through the different options. Don't give them too many options because they might get confused, but just tell them, hey, look, you could do this. Listen to them, hear what they want, and then just offer, one or two options that is going to fit their needs, and the rest is them.
All right, moving along. Back on the other objection, just they wanted to add here. What if they don't have kids and they don't care to make the kids' life easier? You have any tips for that?
Yeah, no, it's funny. When I first started, I had a homeowner that I was speaking to, and his bill was about 250, and he was a younger guy, about like 55, a grandfather already. And he's like, look, I'm going to be here forever, and my kids are going to get the house when I die. I say, hey, would you rather leave your kids the house with a $500 electric bill, or no electric bill with added equity? And he was just like, man, that's their problem. Whenever they get the house, I don't care. Me, I do me. And I'm like, oh, are you running for grandfather of the year? Like, look, man, at that point, again, you can bring a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. Like, there's going to be some homeowners who maybe the kid is not the button, that you want to push. You could test it out, but if they say no, then you can, maybe touch on the environment, maybe do something better for the planet. Hey, what did you do for a living? You were an accountant? Okay. What kind of legacy did you leave behind besides some paperwork? Why don't you switch over to solar, right? You're going to make an electric bill payment anyway. Let's do solar, right? You're going to make a similar payment, but it's going to be fixed. It's never going to go up on you. You're on a budget, right? You're elderly, right? You have fixed income. So you can now not have to worry about your bill ever going up, and you're providing better, cleaner air for the environment. How many people can say that they are making a global impact because they're using clean energy right from the rooftop? Sometimes you're going to throw.
Go ahead.
Sometimes you're going to throw the kitchen sink at them, and they're still not going to, then see ya. Next.
Especially if they're on a fixed income, because as rates go higher, that's more of money of their fixed income they're taking. They don't get to reimburse the other part, so they're losing more and more of their fixed income every year.
And Joe, it's super simple, man. Because with somebody elderly, a lot of people, they hear and they understand, but you gotta show them, right? It's a simple little graph, right? A flat line, and then the utility bill going up, right? And just say, hey, which payment would you rather have, the flat line or the line that continues to go up? I mean, it's that simple of a question. There's only one way to get this flat line.
I love this line I always use for this situation. And I would say, so if the utility called you guys up right now and you guys are doing amazing, you paid your bills on time every month for the last 20 years, and they said, you know what, we love you guys so much, we decided to lock your rates in for the rest of your life, would you sign up for that? And every time, like, of course, no doubt, I'll definitely do that. Well, that's only the first benefit of going solar.
Right. Yeah.
Right there.
Listen, in my consultations, I came up with and you guys can steal this if you want. I came up with a 6-category question list, and it asks, if you had control over your electric payments and bill, would you rather have a fixed payment or an increasing payment? Would you rather equity of the house go up or stay the same? Would you rather produce clean energy or dirty energy? And it just kind of goes through a series of 6 questions. I have them fill that out right when I walk in, as I'm getting the Wi-Fi password and things like that. And then later on, after I show them, the value and everything, if they give me the objection that most of the time we get, oh, Joel, that sounds great, but give me some time to think about it. I'll ask them, hey, how much time do you need? And, a couple days, a week. I said, well, then I'll bring the paper back. I said, well, look, remember all the things that you wanted out of your electric bill that you don't have right now? How long did it take you to answer those questions? I mean, you answered them within 15, 20 seconds max, right? So you know what you want. So let's just listen. It's me and you here. Let's take the gloves off. What is it that's keeping you from going solar today? What's the one thing that's troubling you? And you kind of isolate the objection and then, you know, kind of go from there. But they decided so quick when they knew that the spotlight wasn't on them. So now you could use that to bring it back and say, hey, this is what you want, man. I'm just following your, you know,
Guys,
really.
go. That's gold. Absolute gold. Like, you get to rewind it and watch that again. This part, rewind, listen to that again. You're going to add that to your repertoire. It's awesome. That's great advice, Joel. All right, bro. Ray Satterfield said, legacy, love it. He also said,
No, I work for Power. Oh no, I'm kidding. Ray, listen, I spoke to Ray on a couple of occasions. I definitely want to speak to him a little bit more. That guy, when he responds on Facebook, man, that guy's encyclopedia to the max, man. So I
he's
appreciate him, what he's doing for the
knowledgeable.
industry. Yeah.
And he's good at a sense of humor too. LOL. Facebook user said, nuggets. Great job, fellas. This is all Joel. He's the one dropping nuggets for us. Facebook user said, can you post those questions on the group post? I'm not sure what that is, but if you want to answer an objection or a question, get in there right now. We have a few more minutes with Joel, and we are cutting it at an hour cleanly. So get in there. Ray's still laughing over here. All right, guys, get some more questions there. I have a few more for Joel, and then we're going to be out. So just to finish up and a little bit more picking your brain, man, like, it's not always about the homeowner. It's about the whole game. It's a whole, there's a, like, once you sell a system, do you like knock around the houses and do you keep door knocking? I know you door knock, but like, how do you do it? Do you do it part-time? Do you do it as a supplement? How do you work your door knocking game today?
Yeah, man. I mean, in the beginning, it was, full on blast door knocking. I mean, that's the best, cheapest way to kind of generate leads. I personally just love it, man. I love going out there, meeting new people. I feel like I'm on stage. Like every door is a different stage, and it's my time to perform. And nowadays, with the way our company has this platform with the mentorship program and things like that, and referrals, right? There's nothing sweeter than getting a referral and then sitting down with that homeowner because you already know that their friend were doing it, so it makes it a lot easier to transition into the close. But yeah, man, I still door knock. Any new team member that comes on, that's how I started, and that's how I train them. I said, listen, man, start at the basics. Get your feet wet, get your knuckles dirty, and really get out there and hear the homeowners, right? Like, find out right from the horse's mouth, kind of like what they're feeling, what their objections are, how they're take the temperature of the city based on how they're responding to what you're trying to show them. And again, I love being in situations that challenges me to be better. And door knocking, there's nothing more raw and fresh than being in front of a homeowner. So,
well, let's keep talking about that because it's a perfect segue for my next question. Like, it sounds like it's not just like door knocking, it's that you love the competitiveness, you love the process, you love the chase. That's all part of what you're doing. Can you talk about how do you ingrain that into somebody else? Because one thing is, sometimes competitive spirit is just like in you, you're born with it, right? Like, but how do you get somebody else to see like this is part of increasing your game, is loving it and like enjoying waking up and being excited about it? Can you teach people that too?
sure. Yeah, I mean, I think everybody has it in them. Everybody has desires and wants and things that they like to do. I think it's a two-step situation, right? I mean, you got to love what you're doing, right? If you don't love what you're doing, then go do something else. Doesn't matter how good the money is, right? A lot of people are okay with making 30,000 a year and having their weekends off. Then cool, man. Like, be the best 30,000 a year employee that you can be, right? But if you're in the solar industry, it's because you want more. You have a little bit loftier goals, and you can't look at the steps it takes to be successful as something that you dread, because then you're never going to make it. You're going to quit. Maybe not in the beginning, maybe not in the middle, but at some point you're going to throw in the towel. So like, I know success and results are going to come if I am consistent and I do the activity over and over and I continue to train and be better at my craft, right? So I love that process. I love that challenge. The goal is the process, right? The goal is not to close a deal. The goal is like getting up early, going to that door, knocking it, getting through the objection, winning that phone number, winning that electric bill, setting up the appointment, having them cancel on you. Like that whole part of it, you know, does it get frustrating? Yeah, of course, I'm human. It gets annoying and frustrating and tedious, but man, it's like just every little part of the solar process is a challenge. And I love being put in a situation where I can succeed, and I turn everything into a game. I mean, you talk to my kids, I'm talking about like we're eating cereal. Hey, first one who eats the cereal the best. I'm my 2-year-old choking out. Hey, suck it up. So it just that's just how I'm wired. Like, and games are fun. Like, who doesn't like playing games?
I like playing games. So actually, I'm gonna play a game right now. I'm gonna put you on the spot right now. All right, bro? Because you like to be put on the spot. Because you're not invincible. You're not perfect. We all fear. We all have nerves. Like, let's put you on the spot. Be vulnerable. Like, tell us, what do you fear, Joel Gossett?
Yeah, man. I don't fear too many things. That's one thing. But there's two things that I don't want to happen. Because look, man, I'm 36. 20 years ago, I graduated high school, right? That thing happened in a heartbeat. And anybody who's a little bit older than I will tell you, time flies by. That's one thing that we don't have. We don't have too much time. Our days are numbered. And I don't want to get to the next stage in my life when I blink again and I'm 56 and have any regrets. So I fear getting to the next stage in life and looking back and say, man, look at all the opportunity, look at all the chances you had, and not just to make money or to make, to be this successful person, but to change people's lives, right? To help others, to make an impact in our world, locally, in people's homes and their finances, and then globally, right? For the planet, because you got to have a mission, you got to have a why, right? Why are we doing this? And if it can't just be that you want to put more $100 bills in your bank account. So I just, man, I fear that, and that fear is what drives me when I'm, 3 o'clock in the afternoon. You just had a big lunch, and you got to call a couple of prospects, or you got to follow up with this guy. You got to, presentation you got to get ready for, and instead of phoning it in, you just got to say, hey, man, I got to get after. It's similar to working out, which I fail at. But similar to working out, man, you start pushing through it, and there's going to be times where you just want to throw in a towel. You feel tired, you're groggy, but I remind myself, and sometimes the mirror reminds me as I'm catching mad wrinkles, that getting old happens really quick, and I don't want to look back and have any regrets. So.
Yeah, no, that's 100% understandable and makes sense, man. I appreciate you being like that. And, that's the thing. I'm going to kind of go back into a little bit more before we have to go. We're running out of time. And I want to give a little more nuggets to Solar Pros and what you do to kind of talk to homeowners and how you actually make it a conversation and how you actually close it and how do you get into that structure. And what I try to train is that it's about being an advisor. It's about being a consultant, a coach, a trainer, like you're teaching, an educator. Can you just talk about that a little before you go? But being an actual advisor as opposed to being a salesperson.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, listen, anytime a homeowner sees you coming, or they set up a consultation and you're lucky enough to eventually get them to sit, they're expecting you to sell them something, right? You got to understand like where they're at first. So they're already expecting you to come and sell them something. So what we need to do is go in there and completely like move the furniture around and readdress and change everything in a way that they understand what it is that you're there for. I'm there as an advisor to show you that there's now an alternative way to power your home. You have the utility company, that's all you've known. Here's the second option that you have, right? Nobody likes to be told what to do. Nobody likes to have their hand forced in anything, but they had their hand forced when they had to power their house through the utility company. So now that there's a different choice, it's our job to make it clear what that choice is and to remind them that if you do not choose that, there's a cost of doing nothing, right? The cost is that you're going to go back to the thing that you were forced to do that you don't like to be in, right? It's not a good situation financially for the environment. So then it just makes it easy because now I remove myself out of the equation and it's just them and their options, right? And then obviously, with training and things, and the better you get at explaining it, and get them involved too, right? It's not like, hey, this is the system that you need to get. No, say, look, we have access to multiple panels, multiple financing options. Like, what are you looking to accomplish out of this, right? Are you looking to get to a zero electric bill as soon as possible? Okay, we have some, lesser year, lower interest options that might be a good fit for you. Hey, how long are you going to be in the house, right? That's one of the early questions in the discovery that we ask. Oh man, I'm only going to be here for 5 years. As soon as the kids go to school, I'm out of there. Perfect. So you know what will probably work real well for you is a long stretch financing option that's going to keep your payments nice and low. And let's see how that works for you. So if you get them involved, if you get them getting up out of their chair, taking pictures, go to the electrical box, stand outside, take a picture of the roof, like the more involved that they get, the more credibility to you that's going to bring when you're guiding them between the two options that's available to them. And during that process, it's tough to build trust sitting down and then having a face-to-face conversation for 30 minutes. But when you're walking around, you're going outside, then maybe you bring up something about family, the kids, and now they're like, man, this guy, he's household name, as opposed to just being the guy that came in and sat on the couch and now is blasting me about solar facts and how much money is going to save me, right?
It's not always about just getting them excited about solar, right? Because you'll get them excited a lot of times, but it's about bringing it down too, right? I try to train on that too. It's like, yeah, get them excited, but then you got to do a takeaway. You got to let them know that this is not for everybody. It may not work for you, and it's part of the way you talk to a homeowner. So, last tip can kind of give the audience, and I know you're really good at it. You can kind of talk about how you use takeaways, when you're talking to a homeowner.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I did not do this in the beginning at all, and the closing ratio suffered from it. I was like, I knew the value, and I was like, man, this is so good. And then when they were like, yeah, that I'm real good at talking with people, and I feel like they don't want to tell me no in front of my face. So the whole, hey, I'll talk. Yeah, give me a couple days. That sounds really good. I definitely want to do it. Just let me talk to this guy, this person, or my mom, or my sister, my cousin. I'm like, why do you need to call your next door neighbor's, dog? Like, what's what advice is he gonna give you? But all right, cool, man. Yeah, no. And I was so excited to get out of there, knowing that I gave him all the information that I didn't do any takeaways, and listen, I equate us going into the solar dungeon, the solar battle with the homeowner, whatever you want to call it, as a relationship. And it's very similar to a relationship with a female or a guy, whatever side you land on nowadays. Because if you notice in the past in relationships, the relationship that you really were like trying to give the value of you to them the most, those are the people that were like, listen, man, get out of my face, right? I don't want you, or you exasperated them. But the relationships where the other person really wanted you and you were like that, really intriguing to them, is when you kind of just really didn't care whether they liked you or not. You're just kind of like, whatever. Man, people want what they can't have. And if you're just value, 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 they're like, oh, okay, that sounds good. I'll see you later. But if, I had a guy the other day, he was all gun ho about getting this metal shingle roof thing that he saw in a magazine or whatever. I said, listen, we don't install on that kind of roof. So after I gave the value, he brought that up to me. I said, look, basically, if you're really fired up about getting this roof, then you're not going to be able to go solar, and you're going to have to go back to the utility company. So listen, man, I appreciate the time. Thanks so much for meeting with me, and we'll talk later. And then he's like, well, no, wait, but like, what if I get the other roof? So now it's like, boom, got him, right? Now I brought him. By me willing to be willing to walk away from the deal is what actually solidified it for me. And now he's getting a roof, a battery, and solar with the roof that he didn't really want, but he knows that, hey, if solar is going to make sense for him, he's got to get it with the right roof. So takeaways are huge. It doesn't, you can't just read a book about takeaways, right? You got to talk to people, you got to talk to mentors and people that are in your circle and really pick their brain, man, and kind of show it to you so that, you know, you can really learn how they're used in the course of, and it's not just at the end, it's not a takeaway at the end, it's really throughout the process, even in the discovery call, you know, even in the beginning when you're knocking the door.
Bro, 100%. That was amazing. Another part, guys, this part, rewind, watch again, and practice this in the mirror. Practice it in your role plays. Use takeaways. It's going to add a whole element to your game. Awesome nuggets, Joel. We have a few minutes left. I want to get a couple more comments in here and then a couple of questions, and I'll get you out here. I promise. GG jumped in here. What's up, GG? He said, legend, deal me a poker hand, Joel. This guy is a semi-pro poker player also, Joel. This guy knows how to play cards.
It's a good game,
Ray Satterfield said, mad respect, green clean being seen. Ray's a freestyle rapper now.
I know, man. Let me drop the beat, Ray. Yo.
He'll get on here. He'll get on right now and start rapping. James Ramos said, nice.
Hey, shout out to James Ramos, man. I'm in solar because of that guy. I looked him up. He was all over YouTube and, you know, Solar University, man. That guy killed it. He kind of taught me the ropes in the beginning, man. And yeah, man, it's cool to touch base with people that, you know, every step along the way. I mean, there's different people that have made an impact, and he was one of the. And he gets a lot of checks because of me too. So he's all right.
That's also the way it should be, right? All right. JC Geraldo said, be the needed, not the needy. That sounded good. I like that.
Yep.
All right. There's a quick question here before we bounce out. If you're cool with that, Facebook user.
Yeah.
Hey, so what are the questions on paper you ask at the beginning to bring back at closing to show them they already agree to it? Did you want to just bring that up really quick again? Because that was gold.
Yeah, for sure. So it's a little questionnaire. It's kind of like, you know, check here. Which option would you rather have? And I don't necessarily line them up all on one side. I just kind of bounce them up, whatever the right answer is. And basically are just the value points that we bring up to homeowners, right? Like, would you rather have a fixed payment or an increasing variable bill? Would you like the value of your home to increase, or would you like it to stay the same? Would you like to have a payment that you make forever, or would you like a bill that eventually falls off and goes to zero? Then I draw up a little, you know, green energy question there. I said, hey, would you like your power source to be one that produces clean energy or produces dirty energy that's, you know, pollution or bad for the planet? You can try to keep it brief. And then the other one is, you know, out of all the money that you're going to be spending on electricity over the lifetime that you're in the home, would you like to get a return on that investment, or would you like to have all that money being thrown away into a dumpster? And I just have them kind of check the boxes, man. And I say, okay, perfect. I don't even touch on it. I say, okay, thank you so much. So anyway, and I start the discovery or whatever it is. And then later on, if for whatever reason they want to think about it, or I need to talk to my spouse, or etc., then I'll kind of bring back the paper and say, okay, well, let's kind of touch on some of the stuff that you do want, Joe, and find out what it is that, you know, why we're not moving forward today. So
gold, man. And if you guys steal that, make sure you give him credit for it. Hey, I got this from Joel Gossett, okay? We'll finish up here real quick. James Ramos said, beast mode. And he said, you're a role model. Thanks, man. And Ray's laughing still. So the Facebook user who asked that question, I think, said, love that. All right, Joel, last question from me is, I want to know what's next for you, bro. Like, what are you doing? What's the next couple of years? What's your goals? What should we look for in Joel Gossett the next couple of years?
Yeah, man, I'm gonna answer that question in the next couple of years. I hope that you guys see the people that I'm going to help be very, very successful. I have some goals that when I first started, I just kind of wanted to do a little bit better than the month before, than the year before. I didn't really think outside the box. Shout out to Mikey Lucas. He helped me a lot with kind of thinking, you know, a lot bigger and dreaming a lot bigger than we could realize in our own minds. So, man, I have some goals, man. I want to see, 10 team members of mine make six figures. I want to help two team members of mine reach $250,000. And, if these guys are reaching those goals, wherever lands on my plate, man, I know it's going to be sweet. But my goal, man, is to try to help level other people up. I think if you put yourself and remove yourself out of the equation and you just try to help other people, your own personal situation is always going to be gravy. So just grateful for the opportunity, man, to be in this industry and want to get to a certain point down the line where there are just no regrets. So,
well, speaking of that, talk about if anybody wants to reach out to you, work with you, talk to you, have a conversation with you, and any other last thoughts you want to mention too.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I'm on social media, Joel Gossett, and Instagram, my solar coach. And the reason why I branded the solar coach thing, man, because I played baseball my whole life, and now I coach, my son and kid pitch baseball, 9 years old. So just like you can coach a homeowner, you can coach a potential solar rep, a team member. So that's how I consider myself, man, is coach. When you look at a coach, as somebody who has been there, has the knowledge, and they're trying to, make you the better version of yourself with the knowledge that you've kind of learned. So I don't know. So in some last thoughts, I would just say, I know a lot of people get held back and they don't reach their potential because they're scared of failure, of embarrassment, of what other people may think. And guys, who cares, man? Everybody's silly. Everybody has their quirks. Not everybody is, and that's the thing about social media, man, is it's real trippy because, Joe, everybody's the best in social media. Everybody sells 30 deals a month in social media. Nobody gets rejections in social media. Everybody posts their approvals. I mean, if you notice my Instagram, at one point I posted an approval for a homeowner and then immediately posted a denial. I said, look, this is part of it too. Like, we all fail. We all hit our, bumps on the road.
I seen that. That was good.
But you can't, you were 100% fail if you quit. So don't quit, man. Just keep it rolling, keep it rolling. Try to grab onto a mentor or somebody that you look up to, pick their brain, imitate. And definitely the people that are around you, man, are going to be the people that you're going to, where your success is going to go. That I believe that 100%. When I started surrounding myself with the right mentors and the right people that are successful in the industry, I saw my game start to level up little by little. So do the same.
I've been seeing it, man. You're definitely leveling up. You're one of the top mentors in the power platform. You're growing still. You're becoming a bigger beast. And I've been telling you since day one, you're going to be a superstar if you're not already are, right? I've been telling you that. I see it growing, man. You have a bright future, bright star. So last couple of comments, I'll let you go. James Rambo said, I love you too, Joe. I love you too, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Man love. Keep
man
it.
love around here. And then Ray Satterville said, one love. The cream rises to the top. It's so good to see great people standing up for solar and being the example for the industry. I think that's a great way to end it. What do you think?
Sounds good, my brother. I appreciate you, man.
We have one more show, everybody. Next week, we're going to have Jonathan Gibbs. He's actually one of my early mentors in my solar career, helped me public speaking and doing my solar seminars. The guy's one of the top leaders, not just in solar, just in life. So he's going to come in and do a training on leadership. So really excited to have him on for the last show next week. But Joel, you are the man. Thanks so much for being here, bro. We are out.